AB.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, mate. We're back.
Royalty, huh?
But
Royalty.
before we get into it, it's been a hard search trying to think of the right guest.
Oh.
And we've been knocking a few back.
The inaugural.
The inaugural. There was only really one name that we wanted. He was at the top of our list.
He was indeed.
And, it took a little bit. We had to convince him. A couple of beers.
I was going to say, how did we critique it? How did we get this one happening?
Well, I mean, there was a little bit of the Riverina boy in him. He recognised another one.
He did.
Did you want to read a couple of the great man stats, and then we'll introduce?
Before I preface this, we're usually pretty stoic, aren't we, when we come into these? But there was a little bit of edge around today's pod because of the actual nature of this particular guest. Adorning our screens at the moment, we've got obviously a dual premiership captain at North Melbourne, 1996 and 1999, four-time Norm Smith Best and Fairest, and seven-time All-Australian, which I've heard a couple of really unbelievable stories about the All-Australian trips and those sorts of things as well. We've got the great Wayne Carey with us at the moment. So, yes, shout out.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thanks
for joining us, mate.
I feel privileged to be the first. I don't think
first of many, mate.
I don't think I've ever been a first of anything, to be honest. So it's good. It's good. And well, I'll tell you what is a first. I've done a few podcasts. That's a Lions. That's a Lions.
When we were coming here, I thought I can only get you the best. So we've given him the 2024 official Brisbane Lions premiership glass.
Nice. No, but just to have a feels a little bit like the front bar.
That's the feel we're going
Sam
for.
Pang?
Yes. Oh, yeah. He's got a bit of pangy about him.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Bit of a comedian.
Yeah.
No, pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much for your time.
Maddie and I have had a relationship for a little while now, and as he said, Riverina boy, so all too happy to help. It is a bit disappointing, you know, the other guests, for me to be your first.
No, not at all.
The ceiling's pretty high now, isn't it?
The ceiling is incredibly high.
I'll tell you what, there's a few topics to talk about.
We shouldn't run out of. We'll run out of time before we run out of topics.
We
will indeed.
If you run out of material, you haven't done your homework.
No, well, that's right.
Exactly.
And one thing about us, Wayne, we actually we're notorious.
Please don't call me Wayne. Because only when I'm in trouble I get called Wayne,
Duck?
Which is a fair bit.
So that's right,
Duck. Just call me Duck.
So then there is some conjecture around, or some uncertainty around Duck, where that came from, and I threw it out at Matt just before, and I thought it was something to do with your height, but clearly that's not the case as well.
No, it's just purely because I had a growth spurt from sort of 15 to 17, and I waddled. No. So when I ran, I had a certain gait, as they say when you run.
Yep.
And I got the nickname in Adelaide when I was 15. Came to Melbourne at 16. And they didn't know my nickname was Duck, and I got Duck. So clearly I waddled. So, it was... so that's all it is.
Well,
nothing.
We walked in with you today, and now you strut.
So there's a bit more of a strut.
Walk a bit taller with me and AB, don't you?
My sister always said, she goes, geez, you look like a wanker out on the footy field, the way you strut around and think you're this and that. I said, you don't even realise you're doing it.
Well, you could probably get away with it, couldn't you, with the resume, AB?
Yeah,
yeah, it's all. I'll tell you what, it's all smoke and mirrors. A lot of professional sport, when you eventually make it to the top, it is fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of fake bravado, and it is a lot of, and that's why I say that sport is 95% above the shoulders. The rest, physically, you're all fairly similar, and obviously how much hard work you put in. But then it's how you think about yourself, and then how you go about it. And a lot of people have so much self-doubt. That's why they don't then
the failure.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So,
and I guess off the back of that, when you're in, how long were you in Wagga for? And then I guess off the back of when you go, gee, I know I can play football, but then it's the mental going into sort of that's got to follow that. You know what I mean? You got to grow up fairly quickly, I would assume. Talk through that.
Yeah, I say to people, and I don't blame. And I've said this a few.
Family like brother and sister?
Yeah, no, I've got two brothers, two sisters.
Oh wow!
Another half brother as well. But yeah, look, growing up in Wagga, it's a great place to grow up. And I say this. Look, I had a pretty tough upbringing. The old man was a bit of a knockabout, and that's been kind to him. He's no longer here.
Oh.
He spent time in jail. We spent time living with our auntie. That's how I got into footy. But it wasn't until, to be honest, we packed up and left Wagga. So I born and bred Wagga boy, lived there till I was 13, moved to Adelaide. And it wasn't until I left home at 13, I moved in with my brother, my eldest brother Dick, that I guess the realisation of maybe making something out of myself as a sports person was starting to become a little
happening.
So he taught me how to train. I ran every day after school, and so when it was wet, we kicked the ball along the ground. We went to ovals. So it was no coincidence. Later on in your career, when you played well in the wet, people thought, oh, geez, he's good player for a key position in the wet. Well, when I was a kid, I practiced it. So things can happen pretty quickly in one's life, and that's why when I do talk to people, and we do talk a lot about mental health and how quickly things can change in one's life. Leaving home at 13, moving to Melbourne at 16, captain at North Melbourne at 21.
Right, pretty quick, right?
Like it all happened really quickly. So, there's some flaws in there, and those flaws are partly due to that steep climb of where you get to very quickly without.
And it was a steep, but it was also very rapid.
Very, very rapid, and probably too rapid. Wagga boy to Adelaide. Adelaide was like New York, and then
running water,
and then coming to what it's all about. You move to the big city. Hated Melbourne when I first got here. Just wanted to get back home to Wagga.
But that's pretty normal though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and that's why we talk about the Indigenous boys coming from remote parts of Australia and then moving to Melbourne. Like how difficult that is. And I actually had a funny story the other day because I had a driver taking me out to an event and he got a flat tyre. And
didn't know what to do.
No, well, he knew what to do. I certainly didn't know what to do. I'm a country boy, and I remember I got a flat tyre. I must have been 17 or 18, and we had and it was pre-season, and I was back in Wagga for the weekend. Enjoying our mates and brother and all that back there. Yeah. And driving back, I got a flat tyre in between Wagga and Albury, and I rang my brother and I said, "I'm coming back." And he said, "Well, what do you mean you're coming back?" I said, "I've got a flat tyre." I said, "Come and pick me up." So I just didn't want to go back to Melbourne. So, partly I said, "I don't know how to change a tyre, so I can't go back." So he had a mate of his drive from Albury to where I was, fix my tyre, and then set me on my way back to Melbourne. So I eventually got back.
But I guess do we know how to change a tyre now, Duck?
No.
If you were driving from South Melbourne to Preston, you break down.
I'll tell you the problem I have. Yes, I can. But for instance, I've just got, for a country boy, I've just got my first ute ever. So I got a Ford Ranger.
Shout out.
From Colac Motors.
Shout out Colac Motors.
Simon gave me a ute for the first ute. So for instance, if that got a flat tyre and it's got the big, the big chunky tyres on it, the thing that I have a problem with, and all the jacks are different. So how do you put the jack together?
Where do you put it?
And then where do you put it? Yeah. What part of the car do you put it under? Like I know for instance, I know with Mercedes and BMW, because that's what I'd had for a long period of time, so I worked that out. But if this got a flat tyre now, I would have... It's
a Ford. They don't get flat tyres.
They don't. Yeah, well, there you go.
Shout out to Ford.
I'm definitely not... my brother's real country boys.
He's a whiz,
pick up, go walk past a tiger snake, pick it up by the tail type. My younger brother's like that.
You still got the fam in Wagga?
No, everyone's moved out. I've got a lot of cousins and
dispersed,
and still got a nephew that I'm really close with there, but most of them are cousins and second cousins and third cousins. I think there's a lot of Carey boys running around in Wagga, which isn't good. But they're all cousins, and I'm to be honest, not close with that sort of that that part of my family tree.
Yeah. No, well, that's good, mate. Yeah, well, it was pretty important we touched on that, and I guess people just see. I get for everyone to just see this this gun footballer who's played at North and Adelaide, and they don't really understand the country boy and sort of what you come from and where you end up, and
self-taught. We the players these days, they have media training and they have all sorts of things, and it's very different. The education is very different what they get now to what we had. We sort of got thrown in the deep end. The one thing that I was always good at school, other than sport, I was always a very good reader. I loved reading. So, and maths was always, not my math teacher will disagree with this, but I was also okay. And I think maybe
it's funny. We just got to.
I think maybe stuff like Bet Nation has helped a lot of people with math.
Working out odds.
If you look at the people, by the way, gamble responsibly.
Yes.
But if it's amazing the people that are in that industry, how good they are at math. With odds and numbers, and you become very good. Especially when you're putting your hard earned down.
You take
once
bit
again,
more
gamble
note of it.
responsibly.
You do. No, that's great. Going back on you moved to Adelaide. The great Chicken Nixon, the great Chook. When did he come apart, or how long were you solo, trying to find your way solo before you signed on at North?
So I in Adelaide playing in a school game. Greg Miller saw me play. State schools v private schools. Fair to say, I was state schools. I was playing centre half back. Played well. Came to Melbourne. I didn't have. Managers were people like Greg Williams. So he had a manager, Peter Jess, and you heard of.
So it was very much in its infancy.
It was. And then, funnily enough, I was. What year was it? It was about 92. I reckon it was about 92, 91, 92, around there. And funnily enough, without sounding like a wanker, we were doing a calendar.
As they do, yes.
They used to do a men for all seasons calendar.
Yep.
And the rugby league boys, remember they used to do one, and ET was on the cover every year. He was the
usual suspect.
He was a pretty boy, ET. And they did an AFL one, and I was asked to be in it. And Ricky Nixon was there because it was at he was a teacher at Carey Grammar, and my brother was looking after me at the time. So Dick sort of managed me. He would speak to the club about contracts and different things. And anyway, I was lying on this diving board with a pair of Speedos on doing this modelling, and Ricky said to my brother, he said, does anyone manage Wayne? And Dick said, yeah, I do. And Ricky said, oh, well, are you thinking about, I wouldn't mind. I've just started, managing. I'd like to take him on if you don't mind. And Dick said, with pleasure. He said,
no hesitation.
It's starting to go past.
So was that around the circa Club 10 days? Was that back?
Oh, well, Club 10 came off the back of all that, but that was years later. But so then Dick handed over the reins to Chook, and by the way, I did make the cover of that.
You did? You made January?
I made the cover in July or something, but.
It was the Speedos.
You got paid extra if you made the cover.
So
it was. Wow. I remember it was $2,000 extra you got if you
decent coin.
Which when you put that into perspective, in 1990, I came runner-up best and fairest to John Longmire in my first year, and I earned $20,000 that year. So $20,000 that year. And when you're doing a calendar and you're getting paid $2,000 to do the shoot. And then if you're on the cover, you get a $2,000 bonus.
20%.
So there's $4,000 just for lying around with your top off. So it was good. It was good money.
We might do that a bit later.
It was good money.
We'll have a calendar coming out.
Yeah.
Was that sort of the infancy of, and the infancy, we've said that's probably too much to start, of sponsorships, of that real big sponsorship trend and that sort of money off the field.
And it morphed into a full-time role as opposed to sort of, and I'm probably going back 10 years earlier than even you, when it was still a part-time role, or it was you had a day job and all of those sorts of things as well.
Yeah, well, I think it was around 93 that it started to become professional. Yeah. And Dennis Pagan, we were the first team to have a dietitian. And then you started to train at different times, so therefore you couldn't have a job. So you're training in the middle of the day, you're training in the mornings, et cetera, et cetera. And And it was. Then you started to earn money off the ground. So I had Nike sponsorships. Ricky Nixon was the first one to challenge the AFL about me being able to wear Nike when the club was sponsored by Puma, for instance. So, you know, and then invariably Nike then sponsored the whole team. So there were, you know, big changes. You were earning money, you know, Mitre 10 and Milo and Nestle and all these deals. And then Club 10 comes along and, you know, you're rubbing shoulders with, you know, with Plugger and Gary Ablett Senior and Jason Dunstall.
We
Tony Modra.
We had a look at the list.
We went through the list this week, and because I was very,
and it was the final. It was the start of something, wasn't it? Really, and that was the vision, and that was.
Yeah, well, they had Ricky got it off America, like we do most things. So they had a thing over there called the Quarterback Club. So he copied that same model and then called it Club 10. And then the AFL, because they were so worried about Ricky Nixon and Club 10, they came out with their own version of Club 10. And, you know, the sort of B graders, I'd hate to say it, they're all very...
we won't...
They're all very...
The
the AFL version, they were pretty handy players as well, but it was basically copied it, and they put Craig Kelly in charge of that, and then... Yeah. Craig Kelly went on to become, you know, one of the great footy managers as well.
Heavyweights,
and now obviously at Collingwood. So, you know, the players of today have a lot to thank Ricky Nixon about. He did a lot of great stuff that stands today. The Players Association was dysfunctional. Ricky had a lot to do with getting Andrew Demetrio, the CEO of the Players Association, before he became the CEO of the AFL. So, you know, he's done a lot of good things to Chook. He's had his tough times in recent times, but at heart, he's a good fella. He still feeds the homeless every second Wednesday. You know, he still does.
When we caught up for that beer last year, like it was the first time I met the Chook, and he was one of the greats. So he was sitting there, and he's probably asking me more about. I was asking about his life, than the other way around, which is something you don't see.
Yeah, he's lived a life. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, no, he's made some blues, but you know, I often say that, you know, it's very easy to sit back and judge those who have done that, and generally those who are judging have got more to hide than the person they're judging. Anyway, that's what I think. Doesn't mean it's right.
Well, you know,
but the experiences that you've had, and that always just morphs into some real life things as well, and it's not a philosophy. And ironically, it's Are You OK Day today. So,
is it really?
Yeah, it really is.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So that hasn't been. The problem is still, and I do a lot of stuff around men's health.
Yeah.
And the problem is, we as men, and I'm better at it. I have a life coach now. I speak about it often on the podcast. Sam and I, you know, you can't be serious. Such an important thing, in particular for men.
Yeah.
And I say that because, you know, we think we're stronger and tougher and bulletproof, and we don't have this and we don't. And in particular, country, you know, you got brought up if you don't show any weakness.
Yeah.
Footballers, same sort of thing. And I still think, you know, and that's a great slogan. Are you okay? The problem is, we all say, whether you are or not, we all go,
I'm fine, yeah.
So sometimes you have to delve a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah. And that's harder. That's easier said than done.
Yes,
correct.
No, you're exactly right. And it's easier if you know the person. And if you really know the person, when they say, I'm really good, they're probably not.
Yeah.
So, you know,
a quick wash over.
So great day, and I would encourage those to delve deeper.
I agree. I totally agree.
But that question should be asked on a weekly basis.
Not once a year.
With your mates, and not only your mates, but colleagues that you're not necessarily close with, and you can just notice little differences in what. You know, whether they're sitting by themselves a little more, or they're a bit despondent, or I don't know, their shirt might be a little bit crinkled that day, and they're normally
pristine.
Really, you're just going, oh mate, are you all right? What's going on? You know, you just seem a little bit dishevelled. So there's just having those conversations is a great thing.
Totally agree.
I wanted to just go back slightly and go back to the North days. That era was It was a little bit before my time. I can't really remember it, but I got mates.
You probably weren't born, man.
Correct.
Well, yeah, there you
But
go.
I got Mad North, like a couple of mates that are Mad North. Abe Spargo, who's Paul. You played with Paulie.
Oh, did you see his son?
I know,
just
Charlie.
nominated North Melbourne.
He's going. It's good to see, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's always good to see. You know, that's the one thing I love about the father-son. So, you know, the fact that he's coming there. But sorry.
No. Well, let's go. The father-son.
Yep.
They're thinking about taking that away.
Next 2 years?
Thoughts?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Is it just a bit of like bias now because Brisbane's obviously got the Ashcrofts and they've got the Jasper Fletcher and they're going.
Well, it's been. I mean, let's be honest. If Collingwood didn't have father-son, they probably don't win a flag.
They don't win a flag.
If Brisbane don't have father-son, they probably don't win last year's flag. I mean, their father-son won the Norm Smith medal. So you know, and Geelong have done really well out of their father-sons as well.
Totally.
I hope it stays. And funnily enough,
For the nostalgic.
And now that I have two sons, and I have two daughters as well, although they don't play football, so I'm not discounting the AFL women.
Yep.
Which is
huge.
Father-daughter as well.
Yep.
But I don't like. I'll tell you what I don't like, and I spoke to John O'Brien yesterday briefly, and when North nearly merged with Fitzroy in 1996. And the reason why that didn't go through is because a couple of the CEOs said, if you do that, this team will become a super team. And we can't allow that. North Melbourne, they're already flag favourites and you're going to merge with another team. Yeah. So the reason why I bring up him, because he would have been father-son to North if that merger had happened. But I'll use Nick Blakey as an example. So Nick Blakey's son, John, played for Fitzroy over 100 games, so eligible for Brisbane now that they've merged. Yeah. He played over 100, obviously, for North, so eligible. And then he was at the Sydney Academy, so he was eligible for the Sydney Academy. For me, I don't think you should be, if it is father-son, then you should only be eligible for, so the Academy shouldn't come into
playing into any of it,
No. Now, he can still choose not to go and play father-son. Yeah. And say, no, well, I still want to play for Sydney, but it shouldn't be an automatic thing. No. That's just an opinion.
Well, and that's like AB's good mates with Hodgie.
Yeah, well, his boy Cooper. Coop's running through the Brisbane Academy at the moment. So
he'll be able to pick Brisbane or Hawthorn.
Or the Hawks, yeah.
So I don't agree with that.
Oh, well, I'm with you now because we want Coop to go to the Hawks.
Correct. So I just think, so yes, he can learn his trade at the academy. Yeah. But he can choose, even if he can say to Hawthorn,
I'm with you.
I don't want to play. And Luke can say, look, no, he doesn't want to be father-son to Hawthorn. Yeah. He wants to play up in Brisbane. You know, he's all of his schoolmates are still here and he doesn't want to leave.
Which is the most plausible.
Yeah, correct. Course, so I mean, it is a choice. Yeah. You know, Bailey Scott had Geelong or North Melbourne to pick, and he picked North Melbourne. That's how it should be, I think.
Yeah. No, I think I think, sadly, I think they're leaning towards cutting it all together, which will just be...
Which is...
It's just...
I think they're going to do it. Well,
I don't think it'll feel right.
The talk is in the next 2 years as well. But you have another one as well, like Dean Anderson, whom growing up, I followed him as a Hawthorn. Yeah. Absolute. Noah Anderson's...
And he's playing for the Suns.
Gold Coast Suns, So...
we digress, and that's something we do a lot on this pod.
We do a lot of digression.
That era, Paige, you said that you were the first club to get the dietitian. Yeah. That level of professionalism, obviously, where did that come from? And it was before the run?
It was Dennis.
It was Dennis.
So it was a definite Dennis.
It's all Dennis. Look, Wayne Schimmelbusch should take a lot of credit. Greg Miller for putting the squad together. Yeah. Ron Joseph and the recruitment that got all these kids from all different parts of Australia. Wagga, John Longmire, New South Wales boys. So 2 Wagga boys. Yeah. Not Wagga boys, New South Wales boys. They're bought off the Swans. And then, players from all around the country, bring them together, play under 19s first, the majority of them, under Dennis Pagan. He invariably then gets the job. And you're right, he brought a dietitian in, he brought a game plan, he brought team rules, all when... I listened to Adam Simpson talk the other night on Fox Footy, and he said that they should put the North Melbourne game plan and team rules in a museum for forever and a day for people to look at and say this was arguably the first coach that actually had these actually set rules. Now, some of those rules the team still abide by today, and the basic fundamentals of it, and it's got a little more scientific and a little more tactical now than what it was then. But the predictability and then just certain things that that you knew you weren't allowed to do, and you knew you were, and there were players that had a license to do certain things, and there were players that weren't. So
you needed that though as a youngster.
Oh yeah, we were.
It was the guidance really.
We're a bit of a, you know what?
Rebel with the cause.
We're scared. We were petrified of Pago.
Yeah, was a good thing.
Yeah, if it wasn't for him, we don't have the success we had.
Yeah,
we trained hard. I was a bit delusional at the time when they said he turned a blind eye to some of us, getting out on a weekend.
Can you elaborate on the fly to Sydney?
Oh yeah. Used to every Saturday after our recovery session, I'd jump on a plane to Sydney because you weren't, you could get away with a little bit more up there and then fly back Monday lunchtime, train Monday night, and no one was the wiser. But Dennis cottoned on that's what I was doing, and I was dragging a few with me, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, no way!
So then he pulled me in and he said, "Son, we're going to start training Monday mornings." And I said, "You can't do that." He said, "Why is that, son?" And I said, "Well, because a lot of guys like to get home to the country, Dennis. Yeah. We're country boys, and you've got interstate boys, and it just gives them an opportunity to get home."
Oh yeah.
He goes, "Okay, son." He goes, Are you here representing the players, son, or yourself?" I said, "Well, I am a player, Dennis, but anyway."
He's seen right through
cut
that.
a long story short, it was Monday morning, changed to Monday morning, so I still did it, but I just rushed to get to the last plane on a Sunday night. Never missed the plane so that I missed training. I always got there.
Did you enjoy training?
Love training.
Yeah. A lot don't, but I sensed that was something that you really enjoyed.
Yeah, I did love training. Just talking about it, the little things bob up, and especially pre-season that some people absolutely hate. That's when you're at your fittest because you're not playing games and you're getting absolutely flogged. Yeah. And they don't get flogged like we got flogged now. Their pre-seasons are very, very soft in comparison. It's more scientific. Yeah. It's more individualised, but. Oh, we got.
So you just like to excuse the French. You just get flogged the fuck out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We,
just for fitness
for hours. Yeah, just and just when you thought that there's no way they could do more, they'd whack in 10 400s to finish like that. That sort of training, and some of the camps we went on. We went to New Zealand on camps and on rations for food and just flogged for a whole week. But then you're allowed to, at the end of the camp, all have a beer together and say, what a great week it's been, that's where the closeness derives from.
I assume, was all clubs doing that, or was there?
No. All clubs back to
it's a knock-on effect though. One club will do it and they'll think, "Oh, these guys are successful, so why aren't we doing it?"
Here are the legends of Tom Hafey and John Kennedy Senior and how they flogged, the Commandos. Yeah. And Tommy Hafey, the stuff he used to put his teams through. And no surprise, those two were very successful coaches back then. Ron Barassi. I mean,
I'm thinking about I saw a video on it was a Sunday Footy show, and they were showing some of Plugger Lockett's highlights, and you forget how ginormous this man was.
But agile as well.
So he would smash these camps out, I'm assuming, as well, without just...
Yep. Yeah, no, he would. Apparently, he was a really good trainer, Plugger. But I saw, that was on the Sunday Footy show, I saw the same highlights, actually. And
he was a unit, though, wasn't he?
Jess actually said to me, she said, geez, I didn't realise how big he was. I said, yeah, but his agility and his speed was, if he played today... And I don't give a crap what, the theory, it's different and the zone and all that. When we played against Tony Lockett, we had Mick Martin play on him.
Who's a big man.
Right, and we said, so punch him in the back of the head, chop his arm, hang on to it, right, do whatever you can. We had Glenn Archer play on the inside of his opponent to stop Plugger. We had, formerly known as Dean, now Danielle Laidley, play on the inside of her opponent, right?
Tough as nails.
We had the ruckman, whether it be Alex Oshenko, Corey McKernan, Matty Capuano, whoever it was at the time, stand in front of Plugger, right? the whole plan was to beat Plugger. He'd still kick 10. So anyone that says that he wouldn't play in today's footy, now I understand the transitions and he has to be in defensive positions and all that, but he would learn that and he'd act accordingly. But he would still be a superstar.
That's wild. To say. Surely with the 666, he would. His eyes would light up.
I just can't.
Absolutely.
I can't. Just looking at him, you think, how was he so good? He was just.
Oh, his hands
He was brilliant. He was
I
brilliant.
mean, you look at Tom. You look at Tom Hawkins, and he got compared to Plugger when he was young. But if you look at Tom, Tom had really good hands and a beautiful kick. Well, Plugger had way better hands and even a better kick.
Better kick, yeah.
And just like Tom, very good on the deck, Plugger.
Yep.
Very agile, and unlike some of the players today, he was very scary. So,
was that trip? You just did not know.
There was an intimidating factor
Yeah.
around him as well, and there was a presence around him. So, there were certain players back then, and Ross Lyon was one of them actually. But Plugger in particular, Gary Ablett Senior. If you stood in front of him, you certainly knew he was coming.
You stayed here.
So there was just certain players that you had to be aware of, and Plugger was definitely one of those.
Yeah, wow.
Mate, unbelievable. He was, seeing that Sunday footy
Yeah, it
show.
was good, wasn't it?
But
so
to
that's
look-
Lloydie's top.
To look at him now, though.
Is he a sheep farmer in Yass or something?
Maybe he's a
Plugger,
shadow.
he's done a lot. Yeah, he's lost so much weight now. It's sort of he looks unrecognisable. He's not the Plugger.
He's unrecognisable.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
he's got himself super fit. He loves riding the motorbikes. He does big motorbike trips. He raced greyhounds for a long time.
He did.
No, he's a.
One stage I thought he was eating them, but
The
now
funny story from Triple M. I don't know. I reckon you might have still been there. He rang up one day, and he said the girl, one of his daughters was just starting to see a bloke. He must be 17 or 18, but the young fella would park down the end of the driveway. He wouldn't come up to the house. Tony said, "Hey, you got to come up here one day." But every time he'd go out and see him, he'd always piss bump down the driveway.
No, I would have done that too, I reckon.
in your infancy, who was an idol? Who was somebody that you looked up to? Who was somebody that you would think, I would love to emulate what he does on the field, off the field, etc.?
Yeah, being from Wagga.
I know your brother played a huge.
Yeah, well, my hero was my brother.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I wanted to, I'm still walking around now with my Nikes on with the laces undone.
Yeah.
Because he used to not do his laces up, and I just thought that was the coolest thing, and the way he wore his tracksuit pants.
And he's a big boy as well, isn't he?
Yeah. So all of that sort of stuff. So he was my hero. But funnily enough, being from Wagga and the South Melbourne area, Stevie Wright was a little rover.
Yep.
Came down for a combined training session. I made that combined team, and he pulled me aside and had a kick with me. So number 26 became a favourite number of mine, and he became a hero because he had a kick with me. So that stuck with me that stuck with me forever, and still to this day, the effect that you can have on kids.
Yeah, totally.
And when the kids there, I always thought that I put in a lot of time. I still get a lot of people today as adults. Had someone just yesterday actually. I went down to the Retlink, which a lot of the homeless stuff. So I went down to a couple of grand finals yesterday, and a few people had photos of me when I was in my 20s, and they were kids. And you have no idea the effect, and they're coming up now going, I remember that, and they're showing me the photo of back then. I looked a hell of a lot better back then. You don't realise how much you've aged, but people still today come up and say, I'll never forget the day you stood there for an hour.
Did you know at the time how much this was meaning to the people?
Not at the time.
I don't think
no,
you
don't. You don't at the time. You know that it's the right thing to do, but you don't realise the effect that it has on them, which is, and I think the players now, the modern day players, are way more aware than what we were.
There's some training, but you've got an ounce of humility about you as well, which is obviously that's an endearing quality that it's not about paying it forward. It's just about being in the moment and putting yourself in that particular position as well. And
the old man, like I said, the old man wasn't great in a lot of things. I'll tell you what we always had. We always had good manners, never late. Pago instilled that. I mean, I have meetings and I'm sitting out the front of that meeting half an hour before.
You have podcasts.
And I had
you have certain podcasts.
Matt said the same thing as
I was
well.
here at 10 past 11,
Which
by
I
the
think
way.
is a great trait.
Well, you got to. Well, just what happened if I got a flat tyre?
Yeah.
And,
What you rat shit?
Then
then you got a Ford now.
no,
Remember?
then I'm gonna be late. So that's one of the things Pago instilled. He said, you know what? He said, plan on getting every red light.
Yeah.
And maybe even there could be an accident on the highway. Like just plan for the worst, and get there early, sit in the car.
When your number come up, I thought, geez, he might have a flat tyre.
We're a little bit.
Where are you?
No.
Yeah, out the front.
A great person once said to me, "If you consistently 10 minutes late, you can be consistently 10 minutes early."
Well, and another colleague,
that was my
another colleague of
so.
mine, and he won't mind me saying this, Michael. I won't say his last name, but a business partner of mine, and he said, if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
And that makes sense.
and it does make sense.
Totally.
If you're right on time, you're late.
Yeah.
You should be there, a bit before.
Listeners out there, make sure you
Shout out to Time.
Duck's tip of the
shout
week.
out to Tom.
Duck tip of the week. Duck's tip of the week. I like it because your time is as important as
Oh yeah,
anybody's.
And that's another good lesson. And when you look at charities and giving time, it's like I said, I was at Retlink yesterday giving out. I presented the Premiership Cup to the Magpies who won the Premiership yesterday.
Unreal.
So over a few days they play a number of grand finals. One of the teams were the Magpies, and I presented the Premiership Cup. And I said, I hope this is the only Magpie team winning a Premiership Cup. I got a few boos, but just to be there at that type of thing, it was fantastic, and to see the joy that people get, it was awesome.
It means, I
it
can only
does.
imagine, mate. I just want to, the footy life before we move on. On our pod, AB and I, we try and see the lighter things in life, and that sort of, we don't mind a frothy, we don't mind having a laugh.
Well, like I said, I've had half a beer here, so by the way, drink responsibly.
Yes.
Duck will be leaving the car here, getting an Uber.
Yes, no, you're allowed just the one.
One
just
an
the
hour.
one.
Yes.
The 96 and 99, we want to know, and I think the carry on from that, the year that was. Did you know early in the year that, geez, we're on here? And then I guess you win the flag, the Mad Mondays, the silly Sundays, the footy trips.
We'll go back just a quick sec. Do you know before the game, you think to yourself, because I hear this conversation quite often with some of the Hawk boys as well, in particular over that dynasty. We've got this. There's no issues. We've got this as well. Is there a part of you that thinks intrinsically this is just going to fold the way we want it to go? Or?
Yeah, we'd had an apprenticeship, so we made the finals in '93. Nearly finished on top of the ladder. Only played the one final, got knocked out.
Yeah.
Didn't go into a grand final because Ablett kicks a goal after the siren. So 94, 95 we meet the best team in the comp that year. Carlton in the prelim. They were the best team clearly that year. So we knew we'd done an apprenticeship. So 96, we were confident in 95 as well. Yeah. 96, very confident in 97, 98. I think we're the best team for 3 years, and that generally is I think how long you are actually the best team for. Yeah. I know it's become a bit closer these days, but I think of Essendon 99, 2000, 2001. I think they were the best team for those 3 years. They only won one flag.
Yeah.
We were the best team 96, 97, 98. There was a reasons 97. I had a shoulder reconstruction. Schwass got injured. Archer got suspended. Corey McKernan got a lot went wrong.
Yeah.
Mind you, we finished 7th. Geelong finished 2nd, and we beat them in the first final. So that was a year lost. We should have won one more, but to be honest, even when people say that you're two-time premiership captain and all that, I don't think about those games at all. The only game I think about is the one we lost.
Yeah.
Wow.
And unfortunately, I had a chance to meet Muhammad Ali. That year I said no because I wanted to focus on the grand final.
Great story. It's a great.
So all of these things. But in terms of the good time, the most joy you get from winning a grand final is one, from a young kid, coming through. A young kid from Wagga. I didn't want to win a premiership for North Melbourne because I didn't invariably think I'd be playing AFL footy. I wanted to win a premiership for North Wagga. A grade North Wagga. That was my dream.
That was your cram.
To run out with deep heat all over me, like your heroes did, your brother. Yeah. Laurie Pendrick was my hero as a kid. He was captain coach of North Wagga. So that's your dream. So invariably to get there and do it, and then to see the joy on the supporters' faces that have supported the club. So the club had only won 2 flags.
What was the gap between
77 and 96?
Yeah.
Yeah. So big gap. And
20 years.
Yeah. And so they, to have people, just crying, saying, thank you, you've made my whole life. And still today I have people come up saying, it doesn't matter what the Kangaroos do now, and I know they're struggling, but, what we did in the 90s for them was just unbelievable. And
I paid homage yesterday. I actually went into the room yesterday where all the cups are at Arden Street.
Yep.
And it's...
Well, there's 5 of them now. So you got the four men's and one women's.
Yes, of course.
Premiership Cup, which is good, and the women are going well again.
Are they going well this year?
Domination.
Undefeated again, so they haven't been defeated for a year.
I was going to say they haven't lost a game since 2000.
So they're
absolutely
so that's great. But so 98. In terms of the good times, the days after where you're all together, and you.
Which pub would you go to?
Well, I owned a pub in the 90s called the Redback Brewery. So,
of course, yeah.
So we used to go back there for a period when I had that. And then we, be fair to say, we shared ourselves around. We went to a lot of pubs. I think one year we were sponsored by a pub in the city, and the Santa Fe Gold, you'll like this, the Santa Fe Gold, which is a strip club, was right above the pub that sponsored us. So that was
now I'm listening.
That was a perfect scenario for the footballers. The wives,
2 in 1.
Wives and the girlfriends didn't like it too much, but it was, it was, that you play footy to win premiership. Very lucky to win 2. Should have won 3. But then
what sticks with you is the one that got away.
And the one that got away.
Yeah.
Not meeting Muhammad Ali. Had the chance the next day too. They rang to say you've got a chance. But
so I've heard the story, but you haven't heard them.
I haven't heard this one.
I'll tell it at one of our events.
Okay.
But
great story.
Yeah, they rang and then they rang up and said, you got another chance. This is on the Sunday after losing a grand final. I said I don't think I'm quite in the condition to be going to meet my hero.
The great man himself.
Yeah, I know. I did get to meet Mike Tyson many years later. So.
You like that photo I put up on the stories?
Yes, I do.
You said I'll put up a photo of him.
On socials, how would I have seen that?
He doesn't have socials, a great man.
When I met him and I got that photo taken, of which took me about an hour to build up the courage to ask him. I remember standing next to him and I said under my breath, I reckon I could probably take him. No, I was only joking. No, what a machine. And I actually went and watched him fight Lennox Lewis in Memphis, actually, but he was past his best then. So got to watch him live in an actual fight, which was good.
And a couple of idols. So they're 2 idols growing up, not necessarily in the AFL.
Yeah, correct.
You're a boxing fan?
Yes, I am a boxing fan. Very good fight this.
Canelo.
Yes.
Do you like? I've grown the beard out because of the little bit of tinge for Canelo.
Oh, is that who you're going for?
Yeah,
is
of course.
Okay.
Pimping his rise.
I do. It wavers though. It depends on the era. I do like the heavyweights. Unfortunately, we just haven't had any. It hasn't been a great era for heavyweights. But I'll be tuning in. I think that's Sunday. Sunday, isn't
Sunday
it?
on Netflix.
So Saturday night their time and Sunday on Netflix. I watched the 2-part series.
Not bad,
build
is
up.
it?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, good build up.
Bud's if Bud does it, he'll be arguably one of the best.
Yeah.
Well, he already is, obviously, but 3-time weight division.
Yeah. I was talking. I was actually talking to a mate of mine, Barry, yesterday. I think you might have met Barry.
I love Barry.
Yeah, Barry's a good man, and he knows his boxing, and and a few others. And, yeah, for some reason they think the weight rise might be too much.
Yeah.
So I hope not.
Should be a cracker anyway.
Yeah.
Look, playing career, unbelievable. I guess a lot of us, well, probably most of the population wouldn't know how fast a footy career goes. You know, when you played your first game, you ran out for your first game till when you finished up in Adelaide. Was it a blur? Did it feel like a blur at the time, or did it feel...
That year felt like a blur, the year I had off.
Do you want to touch, like, I know,
I was never going to, everyone knows what happened, but I was never going to, in my mind, I was never going to play footy again.
Yeah. Are you glad you did?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so I was never going to play footy again. I went overseas. By the way, not great choices. I made a lot of, after retirement, a lot of poor choices.
That you've
Thinking
that you
delusional, yeah, absolutely.
Which
but
is
delusional to think that you have everything in control. And one of my favourite things was when I got challenged by loved ones, family, friends, partners, and it was like, I'm a realist. I know what I'm doing, and I was that far from reality. It wasn't funny. Funnily enough, it wasn't like I was completely out of control, but making really poor decisions, like going to Vegas, you know, straight after, you know, something you leave a footy club, which is like your family, you know, friends, everyone else. You're on the front page of the paper, you know, every day for months, and all of this sort of stuff, and you go to Vegas, like, you know, and then I think I flew home. I went back to Vegas again. Spent the first half of that year just, you know, really just burying my head in the sand and not wanting to,
not being recognised is probably
I was running. You know, you only know now because of the work I've done on myself. It'd be good if I was able to, and it's easier said than done. If you're able to click straight into that, well, you know what, you need to actually speak to someone, and you need to work through, you know, this massive thing, albeit your own, you know, your own fault, of which I owned. Never used mental health as an excuse. Never blamed anyone else for anything else. Never pointed the finger at anyone. So that's a lot to take in, and then you try to handle it without professional help. And then when you do get professional help, you lie to them because you want the answer
that
you
want
back. So I do encourage people that do go and seek help from people, that the only way you get real help is by being honest with them, and then you'll get some honest feedback. So that period, and then really it was, you know, I went into the media. Which was an easy job. When I say an easy job, it was a job that you just got offered really good money to go straight in. But
the work you were doing, obviously you enjoyed doing it because it showed through on what you were churning out. And
I didn't love it.
No, you didn't?
No, I didn't love it. Never really loved it, just did it because
it was there,
it was a job and it was there. And it's funny, not until it gets taken away from you, which it did 3 years ago, and now I'm doing things that, I actually now sit back and say, you know, gee, I wish I'd had the courage to and had the conviction to walk away and actually do other things many years before. It helps when you've got, you know, a young family. Yeah. So now, you know, I'm going to Auskick. I coach for the first time this year, my son in Auskick. Wasn't the greatest. I haven't got the greatest patience for 6-year-olds.
I was going to say temperament.
Running around, 6-year-old kids, girls and boys running around,
grabbing the ball, trying
to tell them to line up, and they're not doing it.
Herding cats.
But just you know, being involved in that this year for the first time, being able to go away like we did a few weeks ago. Apparently, I was on the run.
Can't go for a holiday these days, can you?
Yeah, by the way, a holiday that was planned for 10 weeks. But, you know, like, so being able to do those things in our winter, you know, you weren't able to do and never been able to do. So I guess the lesson and if I was to talk to a younger self,
A younger Duck?
a younger Duck, I would say, because at the end of the day, you're going to make mistakes along the way, but it's how you bounce back from them, and it's how you, but it's more so the message would be to be more honest with yourself and seek the right help and speak to people about and not. And what this is what we were talking about before, and that's what we all do. We kid ourselves. We think we're going okay. We're not. I called myself a realist.
Tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's
and I was
another
delusional.
day.
Yeah, it's amazing what we can. It's amazing what we can deal with and cover up and put a front on, and I call it a mask. But even as an AFL footballer, when things were going great for you, you're still wearing this mask that's not actually you. It's the bravado, I guess the aura and the image that you're trying to give off. You're wanting to intimidate people. So you're running out onto that grill. Isn't the real you. As a kid, I was an insecure, shy, emotional kid. And then
Quite
people,
reserved.
100% people don't believe that. Yeah. And at my core, that's what I am. And I might come across as if I've got it all worked out and I'm confident and all of that. But we all have our insecurities.
Just on that, I think it's a great. Like I've always wanted. I've never asked you like that first game because it pops up on Instagram. The first game against North.
Yeah.
Because it was obviously there was so much feeling in that.
Yeah.
How are you feeling going into that? Obviously, Roo spoke after the game, and obviously you wanted to avoid speaking to the media. They tried to get you.
I can't. It's a bit of a blur, to be honest. I've seen snippets of it. I actually went into the game not 100% fit, but there's no way I wanted to miss it. So I'd never.
Can you imagine?
I never had. I'd never had soft tissue injuries my whole career until I got to Adelaide, and then I got a couple of niggles. They trained differently to how we did it, the Crow, whether it was that, whether it was just the fact that I had that whole year off.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of variables. But
what round was it, do you know?
I reckon it was round 6 or 7 or 8 because I'd missed a couple of games. But like I said, I went in there not 100% fit, kicked the first goal of the game and then kicked the last goal of the game. So I remember that.
You remember.
The rest is a bit of a blur. I remember
you and Arch going together?
I remember little incidents within the game. You know, it's funny. You remember a face in the crowd. You know, a North Melbourne supporter. Some still cheering for you. Some telling you.
F off.
Move on.
Yeah. I'm thinking, geez, you got a short memory. But anyway.
Yeah, correct.
But so the toughest game, without a doubt, that I've ever played in.
Yeah.
Did
you often think to yourself, or in particular that game, what am I doing?
Yeah. No. I think I ended up playing 3 or 4 games against the Kangaroos.
But not even particularly that. Your fitness, your well-being and everything was back on track, and you may have thought this is going to be a really good thing for me to do, play some football again, get into that team environment and all of those sorts of things as well. I mean, it was a combination of everything that you were thinking of.
Yeah, going to Adelaide was – so I a lot of people don't know, but I had every club bar about 3 want me to come and play for them. Collingwood, I narrowed it down to 5. Collingwood, Sydney, Hawthorn, the Crows, and who was the other one? What do I say? Collingwood, Sydney, Hawthorn,
Crows.
The Crows. There was one more. Anyway, I think so I went and Essendon. So I went and did an interview with every one of those clubs. Sat down. The best presentation was Essendon by far. Yeah. Kevin Sheedy sat me in the auditorium at Windy Hill. You had James Hurd, Fletcher, Lloydie, all the boys in there. He had a slab of beer sitting there, and he had highlights of me playing against Essendon and kicking goals and, dominating, and him saying, you know what, we're sick of this. He said, that's why and we're just having a beer, and he said, that's why we want you to come to the club. And
were you close?
Or was the defining or the definitive factor was you actually getting out of Melbourne?
Yeah, it was that year that I knew that they had to get rid of some premiership players because of the salary cap. And so straight away you go into, and then I come to the club, they're going to think, the fans are going to think, well,
who's this?
I've come in there. They've had to get rid of some premiership heroes for me to come in.
Yep.
Plus very close to home, as in, the next suburb from North Melbourne.
Yeah.
So for me, it was always going to be Sydney or Adelaide. Yeah, to get out of
Victoria.
Being a Wagga Wagga boy, Johnny Longmire.
And you lived in Adelaide previously as well.
And
so
I lived
you
in
knew
Adelaide. My dad was living there, who I didn't speak to a lot. And I thought, you know what, this might be a chance to actually have some sort of relationship with my dad. That didn't work out either. I love my time in Adelaide. I only played I've played 13 games both years.
Yeah.
I kicked over 50 goals. 56 goals or something in 26 games or whatever. Finished in the top 10 in their BNF both years, of which, people now hang their hat on. And if you do that now, they say you've had a successful year.
Yeah.
People think that my 2 years at Adelaide was a failure. I played only half the year and still finished in their top 10.
And 50+ goals.
In their BNF. So
And good mates with the Roo as well, eh?
Yeah, Roo's a ripper. So, we won a night premiership. Well, Dermy says
he's 5 day, 5 night. Yeah,
well, I'm 2 day, 3 night. So, made some great friends. A lot of my school friends, because I lived there from 13 to 16, were still there. Sprigger and I think I ended up buying a nightclub and a pub, and so. Geez, think about some of the mistakes I've. That was actually.
Hey, they're not mistakes.
No,
you can't say.
No, there was a lot of good fun at the Marble Bar, but
is it still around the Marble Bar?
no, it's not anymore. But
do we bring it back?
Yeah, it was good there for a little while. But yeah, no, I love my time at Adelaide. They're a great footy club. John Reid was a great man. Triggy was there. Gary Ayres, I thought was an absolute ripper. Neil Craig, I got along really well with. But, I've made lifelong friends, going there as well. And I needed to do it. I didn't want to finish the way, I finished at North. So I'm glad I came back. I just wish the body had stood up a little bit better. I wish I'd had a full year. And funnily enough, the second year, it was just me sliding for a ball and I slid into the post and split my knee, got 15 stitches on my kneecap. So there was 8 on the inside and 7 on the outside, and couldn't play for 2 or 3 weeks because of that. And that's just me trying to bloody. I should have just let it go out of bounds. But
it's one of those freaky sort of.
And then remember they had square posts, Adelaide at Footy Park, and then that changed. They changed the posts after that, and I had everyone like they do. Everyone wants to sue everyone, and I had people saying, "Oh, you're gonna." You can sue the. And I said, I'm not suing anyone. It's not anyone's fault.
No.
I slid in. So, anyway, everyone wants to sue everyone these days for,
don't they?
for something. I might sue you boys in a minute for giving me a beer on air.
Well, I know. We've opened him up here. That's unreal, mate. Like it's good to sort of go through because they do obviously the great man's not on socials, but a lot of clips keep popping up of you back in the day and that game in particular and the passion. And there was actually fans after that game and they're interviewing them on Fox Footy or whatever. And there was the ones that are just like, this is just the hardest thing I've ever had to see.
Yeah,
you're
running around. But I can sense just from your conversation and in particular your tone that it was very cathartic for you, which is one of those.
It was good. It was good to get out of the road. It was never, and even the games I played against North after that, it was, not as difficult as the first time, but it was always, not a game I look forward to. And I know speaking to other people that have, left their club and gone back under probably not as dramatic circumstances, but they find it tough.
Tough as well, yeah.
So yeah, it's never easy playing against
Isaac Smith playing against the Hawks. I mean, it's the same scenario.
No, yeah, exactly.
Post footy, you've hung up the boots. You went straight into the media, and we'll wrap up here in another 5-10 minutes.
Yep.
You knew that the media was there.
Yep.
I saw sort of a highlight of going straight into that game, and maybe a low light as well from that time of your life, and then obviously move into now.
I think what's the irony behind the media for me is they've, you know, I got offered jobs, I went straight into it. So there's a lifeline in terms of work. And then on the flip side of it, the love-hate relationship that I've had with the media over time.
A certain paper.
Oh, well, not, you know, to a degree, you know, all, you know, some people have actually made a living off you know,
your life.
What I do or don't do, which is a bit of a sad reflection upon them. And I don't get angry. Once upon a time, I used to say it was poor me. I was the victim, and I'm not a victim. And it's not until you understand that, you know, it's, you know, irrespective of whether what they write is true or not true, or has an element of truth, and how much of the truth it is, and how much they've made up, and whether it's made up complete, all of that stuff that goes into. It's invariably how you feel about yourself, and you know what you've done right, you know what you've done wrong, you know the mistakes you've made. So you certainly don't need someone sitting from afar having a judgment about, you know, what they think or who they think you are or what type of person you are. And it's not until you get to a point in your life where you don't need, someone else's view of you doesn't affect you, just like someone's admiration of you doesn't affect you. You've got to get to a point where you're happy with yourself. You do not need someone else to make you feel good about you.
Is this your life coach?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's fantastic words.
So, you know, but unfortunately it's taken me 50 years to get to it. I just wish, and I encourage anyone to seek that, because we all want affirmation. We all want, you know. I use the analogy, and I've used this before on our podcast with Sam, and that is, you know, you think about just little things in life. You're sitting there in a cafe, and a girl gives you a smile, and it makes your whole day. It's like, oh.
Happens there all the time.
How good's that? Or let's say she doesn't give you a smile, and you're sitting there going, "Oh,
why isn't she smiling?"
It's ruined your whole day. I mean, and that's just a little example of how we crave another person's opinion of you, and you know, the reason why she smiled, she might have found out her mum just got over cancer. The reason why she didn't smile, she found out her mum has an illness or whatever it may be. But we. It's what makes us feel good, and you should not need. No. And even to the point where, you know, my young, you know, Carter and Charlotte and my younger kids, and Ella, when she brings up, or any of the kids ring up and say, "I love you, Dad," or Cole gives you a smile now, or Carter comes in and gives you a big hug, and you just melt. And it makes you feel fantastic, even to the point that you shouldn't need that to make you feel good. Although it bloody does make you feel good. But what I'm saying, get to the point where you don't need even your children's affection or smiles or whatever to feel good about yourself. Yeah. So if you can get to that, and I'm still learning it, and there's still things that affect. But I'll tell you what it has done. It stopped me. It stopped me judging others completely.
Yep.
Because you never know what's going through one's
you do that.
life at the
you
time.
often do that.
We
you find yourself doing it without even noticing, right?
But even watching TV, and you're sitting there watching MAFS. Sorry,
we love MAFS.
Shout out to
MAFS.
No, but if you say you don't watch MAFS, you're a liar. But anyway, I'm joking. But sometimes you're sitting there watching that, and what I do know about TV is how that can be manipulated and how that can be produced.
Yeah, I've said the same thing.
So you're sitting there going, "Look at this wanker!" And you're sitting there watching someone on TV and judging them. For how this has been cut
48 hours worth of bloody footage into 13 seconds.
So the moral to that is, when I watch a reality show or whatever it is, I stop myself from
calling him a wanker,
from judging, calling him a wanker. I might still throw the odd one.
No, you fucking.
I do, but way less than what I used to.
Yeah, mate. Look, I think we might wrap. You got any other questions for the great man?
But I can't let you go. Who wins? Who wins this weekend?
Oh, good.
This weekend, and even the flag.
When does this go up? Does this go up tonight?
No, this will go up next week.
It goes up next week.
This will go up next week.
Okay,
So go.
Oh, well, we don't know. Well, we won't know because we don't even know who's in the prelims.
No, we don't. But we can.
I'll try to get this done by tomorrow. So if you want to do the predictions for.
That'd be
All
okay.
right.
Okay,
That'd be great, Jordo. Yep.
Yep. Okay, so we're up. We're, yep,
Release tomorrow.
Release tomorrow. Perfect. So release Friday. So I think if it's released tomorrow, so we've got a Friday night game tomorrow night.
Adelaide Hawks.
Adelaide Hawthorn. I think Adelaide will bounce back. Sorry, Hawks, but it wouldn't surprise. I just think Adelaide have been the best team all year. I thought they could not have played worse last week.
Terrible.
They could not have played any worse. So
Terrible.
I think they bounce back.
Yeah.
And I think, and I know Brisbane have got injuries, but I think that, and they've shown all
Fair
year.
They beat the
Suns.
Suns.
I just think that they
I hope so.
have responded every time they've had to respond, and I think they will, especially at the Gabba. So it'll be a Brisbane Collingwood prelim, and it'll be an Adelaide Geelong prelim.
There we go. You've heard it there first, folks.
Anyway,
And
by
for-
the way, just for what it's worth, last week I got 0 from 4.
Hey, we got 1 from 4.
No, and you know, it was really, really funny. My wife, who works in an old age care facility, she actually picked. She got 4 from 4, but she actually tipped who she thought was going to lose because she didn't want to win
Oh, there you
against
go.
with the elderly
that's
in
funny.
her home. So she ended up pulling 4 from 4.
We copped our first.
and she got a free jag.
We copped our first lot of hate on socials after we put up a clip of us
yes,
trying to.
yes.
Oh, really?
1 from 4. A lot of blokes saying,
Adelaide
just
cannot lose against Collingwood.
let us know who you're going to tip, boys, and we'll go the opposite.
Yeah,
No, Duck Bait, look, we really do appreciate it. Thanks to Vet
Yeah,
Nation for
you're a
getting us on.
super.
But that was honestly a great chat. And,
Yeah.
Appreciate
your time.
No,
Time's
and
everything.
to be honest,
so.
it's funny every time you do one of these, whether it be a podcast or an interview with someone, something different comes up. And there's things I've said here today that I've never said publicly. So, no, good. Always, Bet Nation.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Gamble
brother.
responsibly.
Thanks, Matt.
Appreciate
You've been
your
a good
time.
man. No worries. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.